D Astra was featured in MapCore's FACEIT Hub Season 28, and during this, Astra got played a total of 88 games. From these games, the data was collected to this neat website made by JimWood and the Whaleman. So, me being someone with the privilege of having this data, let's take a look at these stats and see what we can learn. Let's start with the map balance. As a map maker, it is my goal to design something that can be taken seriously, which ties to the map's competitiveness. The more seriously player can play on my map, the tighter the competition will be, hence, more competitive games. Looking at these stats, I'm kind of surprised it being this balanced, as 50.97% for terrorists and 49.03% for counter-terrorists. A deviation of under a percent is really what you want to see. Under this stat, we have a pistol round win rate, which I'm surprised is not more CT-sided. Pistol rounds generally suffer from the lack of utility, and D Astra is a very utility-heavy map. To add on this, we have tons of long-range headshot positions for CTs to utilize in the pistol rounds. But seeing this stat, I'm again positively surprised. You don't want for your players to get mad at the map in the first round after all. Moving on, we have the diffuses versus plants. I'm not surprised at this statistic at all. D Astra is a very large map, which means that rotations from anywhere else than middle take a long time. And added onto this, both bomb sites have lots of positions to clear, making retaking the sites with less utility a tough spot. And by the way, here are the stats showing how many games ended at what score. I'm glad that this graph is heavy to the right side, which supports the balanced stats of the map as a whole. Let's move on to the bomb site stats. We have a site bomb plant heat map, which looks like this. I don't really have a good idea of the plant positions, as the site is very open with no default plant position, so looking at the stat is very interesting. I would have thought that this was the most planted position, but it got almost no attention whatsoever. With B-bomb site, this stack of crates is the most favored position by far. Even in playtesting, this was really popular spot, and the bomb site B's heat map doesn't surprise me at all. What is astonishing to me is the amount of plants each bomb site got, which are 651 to 660. It's a mere 9 bomb plant difference, which is really cool to see. Quick stat about the diffuses shows that A site was a little harder to retake and then defuse the bomb. A bomb site does have longer sightlines, which in theory could be harder to advance closer in the retake. Then there's the weapon usage stat. Rifles were the most used weapon category by far, with the AK in front. What really caught me off surprise was that AWPs and snipers were only covering 4.5% of the kills. After being a map with such long sightlines, you would think that AWPs would have been more utilized. Then there is the super beta stuff heat maps. These are fun to look at. They show nicely all the sightlines and what sorts of angles were most favored for each teams. This middle sightline is far the most played angle, but it is a given, since mid in D Astra is really important for rotations. Again, these drawn lines show the exact sightlines where each team killed an opponent and don't really tell anything new. When making maps, it's my job to think of all the sorts of ways a single area could be played. Seeing empty corners like this, for example, show that something in the design just doesn't promote the play in the way that I wanted it to. It's really important to playtest and gather as much feedback as you can from playtesters so that you can avoid having these dead spots in your maps, because let's be honest, they just take away space and make the map larger, which always was Astra's bigger issues. Less is more, and the least amount of map you can have and to still have meaningful gameplay with space to move and iterate, the better. Last on the list is utility. These dots show nicely the usual smoke positions, molotovs and grenade kills. A big part of Counter-Strike's gameplay comes from utility and its usefulness. A big part of playing on a new map is how intuitive using said utility is. A well-placed flashbang can mean the difference between a won round or a lost one. Or, when it comes to smokes, I couldn't imagine peeking Astra's middle with any utility to speak of, unless you're rushing it 5 stack on a pistol as a T. I think that's enough looking at statistics and graphs. So, this video will be my last one I make about D Astra, and to be honest, it's come a long way and it is time to let it stay in the past. D Astra is my latest and largest project, and I'm still proud that I stuck through and got it finished. Getting your map played and then to hear that the players actually enjoyed their time learning and playing it is a great feeling and gives me hope in the future of map making endeavors in Counter-Strike 2, which is bound to be released anytime soon.